Are you trying to eat better and now wondering how should I indulge mindfully during Thanksgiving dinner? Then hang in here with me, because to help us answer that question, we have Meryl Fury, the CEO of PBNM. So welcome, Meryl.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, it's my pleasure as well. So on today's episode of Ask Nutrition is Deepa, we are going to talk about how to not only indulge in our favorite dishes, but also it's bit of a show and tell show, because we are going to show you how to modify your traditional recipes for pumpkin sweet potato pie and mac and cheese, and just making small changes to those recipes are going to give you a big reward in terms of not feeling guilty or enjoying it a little bit extra. So Meryl, that's what we are going to showcase them, correct?
That's right. We went through a lot of trial and error to come up with these recipes. We tested and tested and tested them again. So we know that they're really good. They're excellent as far as being a good transition or a good exchange for traditional style recipes of mac and cheese and sweet potato pie. So I'm really excited for this show, Deepa. This is great.
Perfect. So Meryl, before we get into cooking and talking about mac and cheese and sweet potato pie, can you please tell us what you do and what PBNM is?
Sure. So I am the president and CEO of PBNM, which stands for Plant-Based Nutrition Movement. We're a 501c3. That means we're a nonprofit that originated in the Chicagoland area. And our mission is to advocate and teach and support people who are interested in transitioning their diet to a whole food plant-based diet, primarily for health reasons. The organization was started by a cardiologist who was keenly aware of the impact of heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, and all that brings with it. And he's just really aware of the impact on a lot of people's lives. And he started this organization. His name is Dr. Stephen Loam. And he started this organization, Plant-Based Nutrition Movement, to help people save their own lives, basically, as well as the health of the planet, just by changing the way we eat.
Perfect. So those of us who are interested in getting some support as they transition to plant-based lifestyle, or those who want to elevate their existing plant-based lifestyle, should join PBNM. Okay. Yes. So anything else, Meryl, you want to add on?
Just that there's no fee to become a member. You just give us your name and your email address, and that's available. That access is available on our website, which is at pbnm.org.
Okay,
there
perfect.
We have resources and recipes and blog articles and all kinds of stuff there.
Perfect. So now let's get into today's two recipes. Before I start, I need to go and preheat my oven, which I forgot to turn it on. So I'm going to be back in 2 seconds. And while I'm gone, Meryl, can you do the introduction of what you are going to do? And then I'll come back and I will talk about what I'm going to do.
Okay, very good. So I was given the responsibility and the honor of converting a sweet potato pie recipe. Sweet potato pie is a standard traditional dessert, primarily, I believe, in the African American community. We, at least in my family, we never really ate pumpkin pie. We always had sweet potato pie for Thanksgiving dessert and Christmas dessert. So I, with Deepa's help and doing a lot of research on the internet, we worked up a recipe that uses all whole food, plant-based ingredients that with no added sugar, no added oil, and no added salt, no animal products at all.
Perfect. So I know that Meryl cooked quite a few pies, and if anybody needs one, I'm sure she has one somewhere in her house. So Oh my God. So as far as what I'm going to cook, I decided, I mean, Meryl, basically trusted me with making mac and cheese. To tell you the truth, mac and cheese is a bit out of my comfort zone because it's not my traditional food. My first encounter with mac and cheese was through Kraft's boxed mac and cheese many years ago. And there's a bit of a funny story. Even when I made it the first time, I felt that this is not real food. There's something wrong with it, and I served my friend's daughter Sanam the mac and cheese with chopped up broccoli, and I think she's still scarred from that incident. And so, but since then I have come a long way, and I also learned quite a few things about how to make mac and cheese, and it was quite interesting to see how that dish has evolved, and in plant-based world how close it comes to the original one, and it's very easy. So that being said, we are going to start making the recipes. Today, we are going to show you the ingredients that went into the recipe. You will get a link to download these recipes towards the end of our podcast, our Facebook Live here. And so let's first get through the ingredients. Simple ingredients, but very flavorful ingredients. And then we are going to talk about a couple of techniques to kind of avoid some mishaps. And so let's start. So what I did for the mac and cheese, the ingredient are like cashews, and again the exact amounts will be in the recipe, but cashew makes the base of this recipe because it adds that creaminess, cheesiness, and fat, and that richness to it. Then the second star of the show is our nutritionalist, which adds that nice umami cheesy flavor. So nutritionalist and garlic. We added a dash of turmeric right here. Okay. And for me, I decided to add cayenne. I also saw a few people adding jalapenos, paprika. Variety of versions are available, and really this is a perfect recipe to use, add some herbs and some other spices as well for flavor. So I added, or I'm going to add some paprika. Then there was some mustard, lot of black pepper. I was amazed at how much black pepper that sauce was able to accommodate. But that black pepper adds really nice extra heat or extra flavor, you can say. And then you could then I added some regular panko. You can buy and use gluten-free panko as well. I did do one batch where I did not have the breadcrumbs, and I just used my whole wheat bread, which I dried it overnight on the countertop, and then just ground it into fine breadcrumb, basically into fine breadcrumbs, and then use that. And that also worked really well. And then in order to give this recipe extra layer of fiber and protein, instead of using the regular pasta, I decided to use the lentil pasta, the red lentil elbow pasta from this company called Bentilia. Okay, it's a very nice product, single ingredient, just has lentils, and unlike many other plant-based pastas, it did not fall apart. It held its shape really well. The trick here when I was boiling the pasta was obviously to make sure that it doesn't overflow, but at the same time I also cooked it little al dente. I cooked it just a little bit before it was completely cooked, because since I'm going to bake this pasta in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes, it's going to cook a little further. So that's pretty much, well, these are all the ingredients for the sauce and the for the macaroni and cheese sauce, and as far as the macaroni, using the red lentil pasta. And when I was done, I had this creamy sauce here. Okay, as you can see, it appears and smells and looks and feels like a creamy light cheddar sauce. Okay, so it's very thick, it's creamy, and it has very nice flavor. So now what I'm going to do, I have my pasta ready, and I'm just going to add few spoons of this sauce to this pasta, to this macaroni. And another tip I want to give you is I saved some of the water from when I cooked the pasta, and I'm going to add that water to this mix as well, because what I noticed, when you cook this pasta, it requires little extra liquid because it's baking, it's being heat up. So that way, otherwise it gets too thick while baking. And using that water from the pasta was really great, because since it's lentil pasta, that water had more starch content and creaminess to it, and it worked really well in making the pasta, the end product, creamy and nicely cooked. Okay, so it looks little soupy, but once it comes out, it really works. It holds its shape really well, and it really bakes well in the oven. Now I'm just going to season mine with some cayenne and extra black pepper, because as I said, I really enjoyed the extra black pepper. Even though I have added some in the sauce, I decided to add more because I felt that extra touch in the end really helps. Okay,
Deepa,
so now
can I ask you a question, Deepa?
Sure.
So on an average day, do you eat a lot of peppers? Are you a spicy food lover?
I'm a spice lover.
Yes.
What can I say?
Yeah, no apologies necessary. I just want people to know
yes,
that amount of cayenne Deepa just added would put a smackdown on some people.
That's right. That's why I added, in the recipe I wrote cayenne is optional.
Yes.
Because Meryl, you tell me, is cayenne a traditional ingredient or not really?
No, not really. In my experience. No, I love spicy food. I love hot peppers.
Yes.
But in general, no, that's not a traditional ingredient. But that's okay.
Yes.
It's great.
It's all about flavors.
Yes,
so instead of putting the pasta in a large Pyrex glass container, I'm using these small casseroles, you can say, probably, right? Because we are going to talk about indulging mindfully. So with this, you know exactly how much you're eating. It's a smaller portion, and it can be a shared plate. So now this year, Thanksgiving is going to be little different. You may or may not have a lot of people at your house, and that's why I thought having a small plate will also make us make less food, because a lot of people get in trouble because the Thanksgiving extends into a week-long celebration, and because we cook so much, and that can be tricky.
I was telling Deepa as we were working to create these recipes, I was telling her about the experience in my family where people wait all year for Thanksgiving, to get specific recipes made by the person in the family that makes that recipe just, perfectly. So this has been a great conversation we've been having about indulging mindfully and how not to overdo, but still enjoy what we're doing, still enjoy time with our family and the food that we're eating, and then keep it
exactly. I mean, I do feel that these days, we are not exactly short of calories or food per se, and eating treats during holidays fine, as long as we are not overdoing it. Because I was telling Meryl that a lot of heart attacks and strokes happen between Thanksgiving and January 1st. So I wonder if it has anything to do with food you eat or the amount of food we eat. Nonetheless, I am putting some panko crumbs on top, and this is going to go in the oven for 10 to 12 minutes, or until the breadcrumbs are golden brown. I don't know if you guys can see it. I hope you can. Now, if you are, oh, by the way, one other advantage of using this lentil pasta is it's gluten-free. I work a lot with people who are gluten-free, so that pasta is perfect if you are gluten-free, and you can also get gluten-free panko crumbs. So this entire dish can be gluten-free, and of course it's dairy-free and does not contain any animal products. So I'm going to go and put this in the oven. Meanwhile, Meryl, you take over and tell us what you have for us.
Absolutely. That looks great, Deepa. I wish we lived closer together because I would definitely go over your house. So I started with a sweet potato pie recipe. And like we said, we worked these recipes multiple times to make sure that they were reliable and transferable. I'll just show you what I have here. For the crust, because we were doing all whole food plant-based crust, we used oat flour, chopped pecans. These are pecan just pieces. You don't have to get the halves. These are already broken up. Cinnamon powder. Medjool dates. Now, I want to sort of let you guys know there's a few different types of dates. You can get them already chopped. You can get them rolled in balls with coconut shreds on them. You can get, I think they're Noor dates or Deglet dates. These are medjool, which is a particular variety that is just beautiful. I want to show you because I eat these just as a snack. That is a medjool date. That's
right.
Delicious.
I think it's softer.
It is.
Don't you think it's very softer? It has more moisture.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope you can see that. Beautiful stuff. Put those back. They usually, just wanted to show you, they usually come in a container, something like this. Yeah. Right? So you can get them that way.
And interestingly enough, they are in the fruit section of the grocery store, I have noticed.
Yeah, you would think they seem like they're a dried fruit,
Yes.
um, but they are usually in the produce department, definitely. The other ones, though, can be in the baking department, you know, the
Correct.
chocolates. And then we also used coconut milk, okay? The important thing about coconut milk is that you're using what I'll say is a culinary for cooking. You can get the coconut milk, which is a beverage. It comes in the, you know, half gallon in the on the plant milk section in the grocery store. But this is what we're using for cooking, okay? So that was the crust. I want to show you how it turned out. This is the crust after I processed it, and I did use a food processor for this. I had never had a food processor before, and I did go out and get one for this very special occasion. Yeah, it was a good excuse.
That's
After years
true.
of waiting,
That's true.
So I just want to show you how this comes together. I hope you can see this. So
Yeah.
once you add all of that together and you process it in the food processor, it'll make a nice ball, right? Then to roll it out, you take that ball and flatten it, right? Put all your little crumbs in there. And I'm just going to show you really quick, not a full demo at all. But if you put it on parchment paper, and this is a smaller bit of dough I have left here, so I'm just going to show you. And then you roll it out between parchment paper, or you could use wax paper as well, just so that it doesn't stick to the either to your countertop nor to your rolling pin. I'm just going to show you really quick. This is not a full demo of this by any means, but I do want you to see how it turns out.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. So
it
if I
stays
had,
together pretty well.
it does. It does. It does. And if I roll it all the way out into a ball,
Yeah.
I'm going to show you just for giggles. This is my pie pan. I just put that on top of it like this.
Yeah.
And then we can flip it over and it goes nicely into the pan. It just is the wrong shape for this pan right now.
Sure.
But if you worked it a little further, you can see how that would go. And then you can manipulate it. You can make your nice edge.
Yeah.
And it goes really nicely. I'm going to put that back.
And would you say that it's probably 1/4 of an inch in thickness?
I would say so, maybe a little less. One of the things that was important to me was that, and I'll show you on the finished pie, was that the crust was thick enough so that it didn't burn while it was in the oven getting baked, and that it had an edge that was high enough so it could actually contain the filling and do that well. And all of it without burning, because that was one of the issues that I found with the in a couple of the tests that I did.
Yeah.
So that is the crust. Then for the filling, we use.
Now, Meryl did so many versions of the filling, and
I did. Yeah, I was.
I think
one of the fun things in working with Deepa on this podcast. Deepa, I can't tell you how much fun this has been for me. One of the things that we did was, we were talking about the importance of food and the holiday and what happens, and so much of it, it's about the food, but it's not about the food, right? It's about the food is supposed to be good, but it's also about the experience of being with family and eating the food and what happens, So it was super important to me that, given that these are traditional African American recipes, that they hit the mark. They had to hit the mark, and I have fairly high standards.
she does. Now I hope I met that standard. Close.
Like I said, I'll have to
because like I said, the mac and cheese, and it's completely out of my comfort level.
Well, I will have to come to your house tomorrow, and
that is right.
And that's where that'll go. I'll let you know.
That is true.
Anyway, so for the filling, was there something else you were going to say, Deepa? I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, I just said that we tried to boil the sweet potatoes, and then we baked it. And I'm just curious to see what was the final verdict on that.
The final verdict was baking them. Works out
Yeah.
best. To boil them adds a lot more moisture, a lot more water to the potato. And then when you go to make the filling, and since there's no egg to bind it, and there's no milk or anything like that, there's no cow's milk anyway. If we boiled it, it just was really too wet and too soft. The baked potato, which is what I have here, just worked really well. It also sort of concentrated the flavor, gave it more of a little bit of a caramel flavor, which I just love. So I peeled, this is a potato. I'm not going to peel it right now. I'll wind up eating it for lunch tomorrow. But I just would peel the potato, right? That got mixed in with a small amount of oat flour. That was to help dry it and bind it. Again, coconut milk, very much the same ingredients with some extras as compared to what went into the crust. Again, pitted dates. This is just the sweet potato and the date and the coconut milk. Oh my gosh, what a combination. Just beautiful. As well as vanilla. Now, just because I have access to a lovely spice store not far from here, I did go get vanilla beans, which
you are going fancy now.
Yeah, you're gonna go big, right?
That's right. That's right. Why not?
Vanilla beans here. I'll put a piece of white paper behind them so you can see.
I'm just going to step out and check my mac and cheese while you show them how to seed the vanilla.
Okay, so this is a vanilla bean. Actually, vanilla comes from orchids. It's the seed of an orchid plant. So, or the fruit, I guess you'd say. And what you do, if you're going to use a vanilla bean, one vanilla bean goes for about 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And you just slice it down the middle. I feel like I'm up a little high for the camera. Slice it down the middle with a knife, and then you scrape the seeds out from inside and put them into your batter. It's no alcohol, obviously. It's just a pure vanilla flavor. Very, very beautiful, subtle and elegant kind of way to get vanilla. That was the vanilla. Let me follow my recipe here. We also used cinnamon. Now, I know that there are lots of different recipes for sweet potato pie, and the way you season them can be very family specific, and it can be regionally specific. I have one branch of my family that uses cinnamon and ginger, and I have another branch of my family that uses cinnamon and nutmeg. I've also got another part of my family that uses allspice. So it really depends, and I would say in the recipe, keep that in mind. Season it as is appropriate for your family and what makes your people happy, because that can be pretty important.
And you know what? At the same time, it may not be a bad idea to experiment with different things, right? And introduce people to some new flavors and new techniques.
Yes, it could be too. And keeping in mind too, that each of these, and I don't have their particular, let's say, health benefits at top of mind, but allspice will have its health benefits. Nutmeg will have some. Cinnamon is known as an anti-inflammatory, right? And ginger is as well. So depending upon what you use, and I'm not saying this is a medicinal dish by any means, right? But using different spices does have its benefits.
That's true. And again, guys, that's where the mindful indulgence comes in. That we are going to flavor the dish with these herbs, not herbs, but these spices or natural flavoring agent, so that if we won't miss the fat and the sugar that is usually used in the recipes. And that's the advantage of using spices or herbs for flavor, because it's at the end of the day, if the dish has a nice flavor, that's all matters. People will enjoy it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so that's all the ingredients that go into this sweet potato pie. Is your mac and cheese out of
Perfect.
the oven?
I think couple more minutes.
Okay.
Couple more minutes. But you can bring your pie out.
Okay, I'm just going to step over here 1 second. I am so
That's
proud
right.
of this pie. I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you.
Ah, oh, I wish I could drive. Oh my God, look at that. It
We
looks,
will have to have a feast this week, Deepa.
ah,
Yeah, I am so proud. It turned out really well. So, like I
yeah.
was saying about the crust, make sure you
Hmm,
build your crust up high enough. And the way that I
sure.
wrote the recipe is
Hmm,
that it's enough, sufficient certainly to make a 9-inch
hmm,
pie. Not
hmm,
particularly deep, but it is a 9-inch,
sure.
enough for a 9-inch shelf. And you will
I
have
see.
some left over, so
Oh,
you
for
can
sure.
build up the crust nicely. The crust has
Yeah.
like, it's almost more the consistency of a cookie,
Hmm.
um, not at all like your flaky, buttery Pillsbury crust. Okay.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
So, because those ready-made crusts have very oily, very heavy mouthfeel,
Yes.
not this rustic, and I can imagine that this crust probably has that really nice, nutty,
Yes.
smooth, yet very flavorful after taste.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, it turned out really well between the crunch of the pecans, which are not really fine ground, and then the dates. There's little pieces of dates still that you can
Oh.
detect. And it's got cinnamon, it's got the coconut flavor. Really, it turned
And
out
look
great.
how silky the center looks.
Yeah.
It looks smooth, it looks silky. It's like that silk pie. Oh, yeah, hold it closer. Oh my goodness. Yeah, perfect. I think we need to go in business of mac and cheese and pie.
We may have missed our calling, Deepa.
That's right. Let me step out and see what I'm doing with my mac and cheese.
Okay.
Okay, so I think it needs another minute.
Okay.
It's interesting that my whole wheat breadcrumb dish cooked around in 10 minutes, but the panko is taking a little longer. I
Uh,
thought panko would get golden brown faster, but
mhm.
obviously not.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's one of those things that you learn through these experiments,
Yes. Yes.
And the other thing that why I could not do it with panko when I was experimenting, that panko became little hard to find. I don't know. It's because of the everything that is going on that people are just buying a lot of baking related stuff, or manufacturers are, like you were saying, are
Yeah.
probably focusing only on the essentials.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Deepa and I
anyway,
were having this conversation earlier. So given the way we eat, whole food, plant-based, we usually don't have any trouble finding the ingredients that we want. When COVID first hit and the shelves were selling out of um, ramen noodles and instant macaronis and raviolios and all of that, the shelves were bare of those things. But the things that I usually eat were still in plentiful supply. But now what I'm noticing is when I go to the grocery store, some of my typical staples are harder and harder to find. And at one point, I was looking for something, and I asked the store manager where I usually shop, and just what's going on? Why am I not finding whatever the thing was I was looking for? And she said that actually, with the current situation and some supplies being low and maybe difficulty with transportation or whatever, that a lot of manufacturers are starting to cut back, and they're only producing or primarily producing the products that sell the most. So
Yeah,
the stuff
that
like
makes sense.
Tango might be, low on the list. Like you may have noticed not long ago, there was Coca-Cola decided to cut off, I don't know, 200 of their products or something, and
Correct.
only going with the ones that are the highest, best sellers. So
Sure.
yeah.
No, so the mac and cheese is back, and it has this light golden crust on top, and it looks beautiful. And I am going to dig into it. Not that I have eaten enough of this, but it still excites me. This is my first one with the panko. That's the excitement here. And as you can see, it's creamy. It has a nice crunchy breadcrumbs around it. It's golden brown in color. It's perfectly cooked, and I can feel the cheesiness of the sauce. So let me try it. Meryl, too bad we cannot exchange the food.
I'm coming over your house tomorrow.
I think so, yes. So if somebody is looking for a pie, go to Meryl's neighborhood. If somebody is looking for mac and cheese, come to my neighborhood, and we'll do some food exchange here. Mm. Mm. Mm.
Oh, listen to that crunchy yum.
I mean, it's amazing how close the modified recipe can get, and how easy it is, relatively easy it is, if we make an effort to make things, make the recipes healthier, because that way long term we all win, right?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be good for our health, it's going to be good for our environment, and again, it's all about mindful indulgence. Because one of the conversation, Meryl, we had was about, even though the holidays have gotten very food focused, the real meaning behind it is still being grateful and making us aware, and it's time for us to do a bit of an introspection about what is going on, where we want to go as individuals. So on that note, me and Meryl here wish you all a
Wait a
very...
second. I want to just taste this pie.
Oh, you want to test your... Oh, okay. I thought you were pied out too. So
No. Hold on.
No. Okay. So now Meryl is going to make us very jealous, because the pie looks amazing.
I'm going to take the thinnest sliver. And part of my requirement for this pie was that I be able to hold it in my hand and eat it without it falling over or being sloppy.
You got it. You got it.
There it is.
Oh, see?
Right? Really good.
And it's not jiggly. You didn't want the jiggly pie.
I didn't want jiggly. Jiggly is not part of it. Okay. I'm going to taste it. It works.
It worked, yeah.
Really good. Creamy, nutty, smooth, caramely, sweet potatoey, but the spice is beautiful.
That's true. And those of you who are out there, one last time I'm going to put my dietitian's hat on and really go over the nutritional side of the dishes that we made. For example, the sweet potatoes are very high in vitamin A, and if you want to take it to the next level, I would say blend it with skin on, because skin has the fiber. You can definitely do that if you are ready to take that next step. And cutting down on sugar, not having animal fat has already made that piece of pie really healthier to eat. And as far as mac and cheese is concerned, using the lentil pasta has added extra protein and extra fiber, also the creaminess, and the garlic, the cashew, the nutritionalist in the sauce adds the flavor, the texture, everything. So really, these are a couple of dishes worth trying and giving it a chance, and also introducing you, your family, your neighbor, whoever is involved in your life, to take them on a path of being healthy, because that's all this comes down to. Is there's nothing more important than good physical and mental health. So on that note, Meryl, do you want to add anything else? Otherwise, we will wish
No,
our audience happy Thanksgiving, happy and healthy Thanksgiving and New Year.
the only thing I would say is that given the current condition of, the biological threats that we face now with the virus and it being so unpredictable, and you can't tell who's got it when and how it's going to affect anyone when and if they do contract it. The best protection we have, absolutely, without a doubt, hands down, the best protection we have is a healthy diet. Wash your hands, wear your mask as appropriate, but the way we prevent and actually reverse a lot of chronic illness, put a buffer between ourselves and new illnesses, is by a healthy diet. It's the most solid thing we have. So I encourage everybody all the time.
Absolutely. And this is a simple intervention. It starts at home. It starts with simple ingredients at home, and there's a lot of support and information out there. And PBNM is again one of those organization who have people involved who are willing to help. So please reach out to me or Meryl if you have any questions, if you have any comments. Of course, please share this recipe with others. You can watch it on YouTube after Facebook is done. And as usual, we thank you for watching and for your comments and sending me your questions to answer every week on Ask Nutritionist Deepa's podcast and YouTube channel. So thank you. And with that, we bid you a goodbye and see you soon.
Good night.